And we are back like we always are. We run this show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, investing, the stock market, entertainment, gaming, and everything in between. I'm your host, Pio, here with my co-host, Nifty Nick, the funniest man in the business. King Kicks, the CEO of Crypto Raiders, soon to roll out Cyber Stadium, getting a lot of buzz. The co-founder of the Nifty, trader extraordinaire. We're with Easy. I think Easy's having trouble joining the show. He's on the move. He's heading back to Miami. But Easy is the host of GM Market Talk. He's the founder of Bodogo's, soon to be the #1 NFT collection on a blockchain near you. Signal, the host of Artist Spotlight. Writer extraordinaire, artist interviewer extraordinaire, sophisticated takes from Signal are always welcome on this show. And last but not least, we have Bunny. Bunny, your bio just says you're here.
I am.
Well, no, I know that, but I'm kind of surprised that you elected to put that in your bio. Like, we know you're here.
Oh, this is a good one today. It's a good one. Got him. Got him. Buddy got him. Pio, he got you. He got you good. Pio couldn't get that one. You said you're here, Bunny, in your bio. What is wrong with you, dude? Classic. That's a knee slapper. That one is a knee slapper. That was a good one. Oh, man. That was good.
Glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, Jesus. I'm dying over here.
He's having some issues. We had a couple drinks last night. I participated, which I never do, and it was a bad idea. I reminded myself why I don't drink anymore last night, and it's time to go on another 2-year non-drinking sort of sprint here, and we'll come back 2 years from now so I can give myself a little reminder of why I don't drink. Need to do that once in a while. You know?
Nick was sucking down red wine like it was Gatorade at halftime of the Super Bowl or something, you know? Like
that's a little aggressive.
You needed to perform. Meanwhile, I'm coughing. I didn't do anything.
You didn't. I didn't do anything. You were drinking a lot. I'm gonna be honest, and I saw you over there drinking a lot. Your
drinking a lot.
When Pio drinks, his literal his lips tell the story. It's like if he drinks red wine, his teeth and his lips are like immediately like completely red, almost like lipstick, I would say. And he's sitting there, makes you want to kiss him. That was kind of what was going through my mind.
Yeah, I'm very porous. So if I consume something like red wine, my pores, I'm porous. They absorb it, I should say. Bunny, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
Yeah, I missed my train stop. So I don't have my car. To be honest, I don't think I'm allowed to park in that lot. So I'm not sure the car's even there. So it's fine.
Did you fall asleep on the train so you missed?
No, I didn't, dude. I was like looking at a TikTok video or something. Just missed it.
So you Ubered from the wrong spot home?
Yeah.
Elite move. Signal, how you doing this morning?
Bonjour, I'm going to say today. I'm in Paris for NFT Paris this week, so I'm very excited. Yeah, I've gone from seeing Node in London to jet setting across to Gay Paris. I put out a tweet this morning. I said, GM, going to go see a man about a baguette. And everybody thought I was off to just go have some sex somewhere. I'm like, it's a baguette. It's Paris. They eat a lot of them in the shop. So that's the code there.
You're on the wrong audio, by the way, I think, on the stream.
I sent it in the private chat, but thank you for saying it out loud, Nick. That's a pretty crass response to a tweet about getting a delicious piece of bread, Signal. I'm sorry you had to go through that. But yeah, if I was in Paris, I'd also be crushing bread, croissants, baguettes, pate, roasted bone marrow, creme brulee.
If you let her
souffle Grand Marnier.
Yeah, Pio's so cultured. When you tweet anything, literally, you're going to get a response about sex, or you're going to get a response about why you're a piece of crap. I mean, those are the two things, at least. Maybe that's why I get.
That's what you
maybe
get.
That's just me. Maybe that's just what I get. So, Well, it's tough out there on Twitter, people. You know, I tweet something, people say you're wrong because they're just uninformed. Like the Cool Cats news, everyone's just like, you're wrong, you don't get it, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you all are wrong, okay? Maybe you all are uninformed. Oh, did you read a press release that a private company put out and now you have a full understanding of what's going on within that organization? No, that's why it's called private company. It's in the private markets. Once they become a public company, then you could maybe be a little more aggressive with me calling things out. But for now, these are all private companies. So everything that I have here is private information. And I just want people to recognize that. How do you think I get that information? I show up to the bars. I hang out late at night. I have drinks with Pio, and we look at each other in the eyes, and I say, "What story am I going to make up tomorrow, Pio?" And then exactly, I'm the investigator, man. We just dramatize my action, which is literally walking to people on the street and saying, "What do you know about this situation?"
And they don't know who you are, what you're talking about, or why you're bothering them. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it. Clemente, what's today's daily question?
If you could have dinner with anyone in the world, who would it be and why?
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good question, Nick. Nick, who would you have dinner with? Some like tech guy from San Francisco so he can like tell you how to optimize something to be 0.1% better or something?
Oh, that was a good one. That was almost as good as your bunny joke this morning. Coming with knee slappers one after the other there, Pio. I was going to say I'd have dinner with Pio, but now I'm just angry at you. So I'm going to have to think about that one. Signal. She's always a great person to have dinner with. I enjoy meals with Signal.
Yeah, but I mean,
that's really kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah, Signal's already like a collaborator. I figure if we really wanted to have dinner with Signal, it's like it's on the table. This question was anyone in the whole world, Nick.
Yeah, I understand. And that's the answer that I gave.
Wow. Well, the Signal should feel pretty special about that. It's pretty good. I'm going to go with Habib Nurmagomedov to get that championship mentality, Nick, to understand discipline at the deepest level and how to rise to the top of the sport and stay there.
You already saw the videos of it. You don't need to have dinner with them to figure out the exact same thing. You're just going to be sitting there in awe, asking him for his signature. Do you really need to go to dinner just to get an autograph, dude? I just feel like that's unnecessary. What additional information do you think he's going to reveal to you that previously he hasn't said publicly? What are you hoping for?
It's a good call. You're making me rethink it. Maybe Howard Stern. Bunny, who would you go with? I think Howard Stern's maybe my pick to talk about radio.
I like that. Okay.
Bunny.
I don't know. Lady Gaga.
Why Lady Gaga?
Because we can have a sing along.
Yeah.
And she can play in whatever that song we were discussing the other day from that depressing ass movie. And I'll play the guy in it, you know? So that would be a fun thing. I like Bunny. I'm with Bunny on this one. Almost as good as having dinner with Signal.
Well, Spyro Bakes Cake said the man himself, Tom Brady. I would have said that maybe 8 years ago. Now I just think he's a psychopath. But yeah, you can go have dinner with him, Spyro. I'm sure he'll tell you that he didn't get hair plugs or whatever. Laura at Vandom Law said Nick for the laughs. So you got yourself a supporter there in Laura, amigo. Comfy said if it was possible, Kobe, obviously RIP, shout out to Kobe. Tizlist.eth said Joey Diaz. That would be a funny dinner right there. Edgar said that he would sit with Conor McGregor and then sit in front of me and Khabib. So he's trying to form a rival table, maybe Khabib and McGregor fight, and then me and Edgar fight. Edgar would definitely win. Wanda77 said Gary V so she could skip the line to get his autograph. You can do better than that, Wanda. Come on now. Leo at Starboy J8 said Jay-Z or MJ. Those are obviously some pretty good picks.
Ooh. Abron Bibley says SBF to ask why. I like the idea of having SBF so I can stream it and just document it and get the views, dude. Get the view. And I want to sit down and I just want to just demean him, you know, at over dinner live on stream so people can witness him receiving the feedback that he deserves. End the dinner by punching him in the face.
NFT, yeah, well, I mean, I love it. NFT, Faye NFT said, my wife and son, I love them and they are my strength. Listen, NFT Faye, the question was anybody in the world. We get that you love your family, amigo, but come on now, give us a better response than that, okay? No, I'm just kidding, NFT Faye. Very wholesome response there. Very nice. Nick, you have any more responses to read?
Well, I see other people into eating dinner with with Kanye. I also see Tan here wanting dinner with Ryan Carson. I see VZ with Salma Hayek. There's Magic Johnson in here. Someone says Putin. That's a great one. You know, if you read Twitter yesterday, I was pointing this out to Pio. There, World War III was trending, and you know, I love to provide political commentary all the time. People that follow me particularly for my deep understanding of geopolitical, analysis. They follow me for my understanding of macroeconomics. They follow me for just my deep insight, given my PhD. And so yesterday, one of the tweets, I saw someone tweet, they were like, I mean, at least Putin's not telling as many lies as Joe Biden. And it was just, and then people in the comments were like, and I agree, this was all bots. Like the whole thing was just like one giant bot farm. And it was interesting to see nonetheless. And there were a lot of bots who were interested in having dinner with Putin yesterday. So if we could get those bots to just come and reply to our tweets, that would be awesome, man. You know?
I mean, I love it. I think I'd be down for that. Ladies and gentlemen, the show, as always, is sponsored by us, by our newsletter. Sign up at thenifty.com. That's THENIFTY.com. It's the first tweet that's pinned to the top, THENIFTY.com. That goes out 7 days a week and gives you all of the updates that you need to know in short form format for the NFT space and crypto in general. On to the weather report. My understanding is that today is Kix's day for the weather report. Kix, I have your theme song ready too, amigo. Are you ready to take it away with the weather report?
I'm ready to rumble, but can you get that intro song rolling for me, and then I'll just hop right in?
What? It's playing right now.
It's playing.
Welcome today, Wednesday, the 22nd of February, 2023. Total market volume, 82 million. Blur coming in 56 versus OpenSea, little tiny 16 million. Leaders, Apes 77.7, Mutant 16.4, Punks 63.9, Azuki 15.2, Moonbirds 6.6, Doodles 5.8, Pudgies 5.9, Clonex 5.3. These are jumping all over the place.
Yeah, they are.
Over the past 24 hours, OSF and Mando sold 71 Bored Apes into Blur bids, and I think some Mutants for more than $9.1 million. The floor price didn't even budge due to the amount of bid farming out there. The duo saw this moment as an opportunity to liquidate a large portfolio of apes without taking the floor. They still hold Mutants, Sewer Passes, ApeCoin, and they also invested in Yuga. So I think they have a lot of exposure still. Congrats to the guys on the sale. That's massive. Yuga Labs announced Sewer Passes will reopen for all passes. Top 2,000 and top 500 will receive a special companion trait to their power source. Passes that show NA that are tied to a score of 0, after scores are finalized, will not be eligible for the summoning that begins on March 8th, 2023. Passes back up to 2.6 ETH on the news. Heads by Matt Fury, a PFP collection from the creator of Rare Pepes, saw a 3x increase in price. That spike is thought to be caused by Jack Butcher, who mentioned yesterday Fury as an inspiration for some of his work. Floor price went from 1.2 to 3.3 ETH. But Jack Butcher can literally just say someone's name and put before 3x. That's the power he has in this market.
Can he mention our NFT? Jeez.
Yeah, right? You got to get dinner with this guy. Lastly, Blur launched an aggressive move last night after incentivizing users to delist from OpenSea or lose Blur loyalty points. I just love this. They got a shreddy marketing team over there. They also announced 300 million more Blur tokens are coming on the market at the end of season 2. I think the first season was 360 million, so it's about the same size. Lots of farming to be had there. Quickly looking over at crypto, we have Bitcoin holding on to 24,000. ETH 1640. Solana 23.5. So these pulled back based on equities taking an absolute dump. Yesterday was the worst day of the year so far. Blur 0.98. So that's pulling back with alts taking a brunt of the pullback. So Blur down below $1. Back to you in the studio.
Absolutely fantastic weather report as usual, Kicks. Some updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, which is the daily newsletter that I mentioned before. You can subscribe at thenifty.com. Yuga Labs announced its next game, Dookie Dash Toad Mode, which sewer pass holders can play today for a unique companion to their power source. I wonder if that name was inspired by Node Mode. Go ahead, Nick.
I'm just excited. I want to play the game.
There you go. Frenzies, who raised $5.3 million from mint funds in 2022, announced that they will not be abandoning their project after many interpreted their previous communication as them giving up. So that's pretty interesting.
Bunch of losers.
Yeah, the artist and creator of Monsters, Signal, what's the proper pronunciation of this artist's name?
He's actually Vietnamese, so I'm not sure. But Lucrece. That's how I pronounce it.
Okay. Well, there's some French influence in Vietnam, so maybe it is the French pronunciation. Lucrece announced a 1-year deal with Sotheby's, so that's big news for him. We already talked about Mando and OSF selling all their Bored Apes and the Blur situation. So those are and last but not least, Pac-Man, the founder of Blur, actually doxed himself with a picture, said that he was a high school dropout, an MIT student of math and computer science. I don't understand how you drop out of high school and go to MIT. Maybe someone can shed some light on that. And a recipient of the Peter Thiel Fellowship. So a lot going on there. Anyway, those are your updates from the Nifty Daily Digest, the daily newsletter that you should subscribe to at thenifty.com, THENIFTY.com. Nifty Nick, how you doing?
I'm doing all right. A couple things to discuss there. I want to jump back real quick. Well, there's market action, but I think we'll discuss that later. That's worth talking about with the stock market and everything else. But one of these frenzies, it's frenzies. I thought it was Friends with You. Whatever it is, they said they reverted their statement. But their account is now private and they're blocking people, and their Twitter, which is like so not on brand because their brand is all about being friendly with people.
Being friend with you, man. Come on, man.
Will you be friends with me, P.O.? Will you be friends with me?
No.
Just kidding. You're blocked. You're blocked. I don't care what our brand is called. You're blocked. So yeah, they were out there just attacking people left and right after being attacked. And feeling like a bunch of losers. Look, and Farouk even went on and said, basically unblocked someone that he had previously blocked. This was dinner chatter last night for someone who was saying Friends with You was like a rug or something like that. He unblocked the person and went and apologized to him and said, "You were right," which I think is hilarious. I don't know the exact words of the person that he went back to say that to, but it's nice that Farouk at least took steps to acknowledge what had gone down there. A lot of influencers were getting called out for having pumped this project. But to be fair, Friends with You had partnered with Sotheby's essentially previously. So a lot of people were caught in the crossfire as a result of this. Now they're saying they're not a rug. It's kind of like, hey guys, we're just going to put this on pause for a moment. But now it's like, but we're not rugging. Like, we're not rugging. We're just taking a break. We're going on vacation. We're taking a little break. We're going on vacation. We're going down to the islands and just hanging out on a beach for a bit. But we're not rugging. Don't worry about that. We're actively tweeting still. Only to people that we approve of following us. But we're still actively tweeting. Trust us. We have a great business going on. We don't have any employees. We let all of them go. But we're still running a business and we're not rugging. Okay, so anyways, we can move on to the next subject here, which is Blur. The Blur situation here, I was discussing it last night, and I came back and tweeted, and that seemed to be one of my more popular tweets recently about how Blur sucks. And the only thing that I was sort of indicating with that, a lot of people thought that had to do with royalties. Guys, I don't care about royalties. Like, that literally is not part of the conversation. That was like a 2-day conversation. Everyone else moved on from that. Okay, so it's not relevant. We're moving on. Everyone's like, oh, this just kills the entire market. This is the whole premise of NFTs. No, it's not the premise of NFTs. But the area of Blur, which is messing everything up, is the whole Blur farming situation. Machi Big Brother was the one that bought all of OSF's NFTs. That was the situation. What's that?
I don't think all of them, but I don't think all of them, but I think a lot of them, unless he's running alts as well.
Okay, well then most of them, whatever the number is, it was some substantial amount. Whatever the situation is there, these floor prices are volatile as hell, and all of it's resulting from the Blur farming. Now, one side you could argue, well, this is a good thing. There's a lot more liquidity, but the expense of that is more volatility. I actually don't know if that's necessarily a bad thing. If you're able to insta dump any of your NFTs directly to Blur, that's pretty insane. Like, that seems like a pretty good thing. If you previously wanted to sell a Bored Ape, for example, you had to wait. If you were even the floor price, if you had a non-rare or a slightly mid-rare one and you put it on the floor, it will sell. But it would even take, an hour or two or something like that for that to go down. And now it's just, you can instantly dump it. That you could say, well, that's a good thing. But the result is, if you look at all of the floors or all the trading activity on all the projects, it's now all WETH basically. So if you're looking to participate right now in the market, it's pretty tough to go and scalp gains off of some of these projects. That said, buy low, sell high. I've been seeing like pudgies ping pong between like 5.2 and 6. If you can just keep making 0.8 ETH, maybe that's worth it. Like, if you can make 15%, every day or two, compound that, you got yourself. I'm not good at math here, but 15% compounded a couple times is easily 40,000%.
You're making some money. Signal has her hand raised, then we'll go to Kicks. Then I think Clemente has some context to provide. Signal, what's going on?
No, I thought the trade that OSF and Mando did was spectacular, but more the strategy that they took, and that what do you do when you have 70 apes? Like how are you going to get rid of them? What they said in essentially their statement was that, if you try and go to Sotheby's, then you still have to pay a fee. If you try to sell the apes, then you end up just crashing the floor in a normal market situation. So this was a very special opportunity for them to do that. And I think, given their background of like previously having traded illiquid assets, they obviously recognize the opportunity to be able to get rid of this, well, not get rid, but just essentially exit the position which they've held for for a really long time, pretty much since mint. So I think right now, in terms of what you're saying, Nick, as well, being able to trade these small movements of going from 0.2 to 1 and then back again on certain collections is really good, because we don't really know how the market's going to play out at the end of season 2, whether that liquidity comes back. And if you look at the period when farming stopped and before the airdrop, we saw all floors pull back really aggressively. So I feel like at the moment there's sort of a lack of transparency around like what is the status really of PFP collections right now. And I think if you look on the art side of the market, it shows a bit more of a signal as to what is actually going on.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely have to dive deep into this. It's pretty fascinating that they elected to sell all their Bored Apes. I didn't know that that was something that they were interested in doing. Like Signal said, they've been holding these things for a long time. I think they've also made comments about how they planned on continuing to hold them for a long time. Like, why would you ever sell these things? So it's interesting to see that they ended up selling 9 million, I think all of the Bored Apes, right? So that's pretty significant. Kicks, you have your hand raised. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm going to be very interested to see like what happens with the Bored Ape Yacht Club price over the next couple of days, because it is 100% true that with Blur there's a lot more liquidity to dump into. But the question is were those people that were bidding, were they just trying to bid farm, or did they actually want to acquire an ape? $9.1 million dumped. You have to think a lot of those people that took bids potentially may not want to be holding that much exposure. So exactly as what Nick said, we're getting more liquidity, but also more volatility. And then I like Nick kind of thinking whether this is good or bad for the market. I think it's good and bad. I do think that it's maybe a little bit more bad for unsophisticated traders, and that's what we need long term to grow the market. So one of the things that I'm concerned about is that people that aren't very sophisticated and they just see these floor prices pumping, they may think like, oh wow, this is a great project. People must be really interested in it, and in fact, what's happening is just bid farming, pumping it up. And then people get, end up holding bags, where they bought something that went up 5x and then it, retraces on them or whatever. So I think it's good and bad, but I mean, that's a hell of a story to be able to, dump that many apes in one transaction. But my guess is that literally zero of the Bored Ape Yacht Club bidders thought of that as a possibility, because there's probably less than 10 people in the world that can even dump that much at one time. Right. So the probability of that happening is probably really, really low. So I think some people got caught with their pants down here.
Yeah, I mean, they seized the opportunity. Nick, does this make you want to consider selling any of your Yuga Labs assets that you still hold?
Pio, I think about that every day. I think, what the hell am I doing with all this money in Yuga assets? But no, this situation in particular does not make me want to dump. The only thing that makes me want to get rid of my assets here is more just like thinking long-term horizon. What are they going to do next? Like what can they do to keep this, keep all these things pumping? And that's a hard thing to figure out. The other question that we need to figure out is, are Bored Apes basically trading now at what is viewed as their collectability price? There is a premium on them over punks of $25,000, which I think is a pretty significant premium at this point in time. And do people really value for up until the drop of the sewer passes? I think the bigger story here is that we haven't seen the floor budge from the sewer pass drop on Bored Apes. Typically, when another drop happens, we see Bored Ape prices adjust. So you would imagine them to drop at least by like $5,000, $10,000, something like that. And it really hasn't budged. That's the thing for me, which is actually kind of the most surprising part of all this, not even having to do with Blur. And so I don't know, like maybe like that is the index of the space, is essentially Yuga assets. It's been, frankly, the most stable asset in the entire NFT space. The fact that they're able to sustain a floor of $125,000, that's crazy. And the fact that, and even the story of Mando and OSF, like if you think about, like, you couldn't sell art at that pace. You can't like go and suddenly just drop $9 million of art and just have the market pick it up instantaneously, unless you're selling something basically just on the cheap. And when I mean like at a discount, you got to go for deep discounts to make somebody in the art market like take note. Usually the delivery for that to be done is through like a Sotheby's or a Christie's, is where a lot of those deals will go down. But to have that happen in the private market that quickly is pretty notable. And I think it just, what's being developed here is really a healthy market, essentially, that's being generated. And that's the thing that's actually kind of crazy to see. Yesterday, I was saying this is awful for the NFT space. It is in the sense that, like Kick said, that you need to be more sophisticated in your trading approach. That said, essentially, we have market makers at this point. Now, they're all farming Blur, so that's the temporary thing. That's the thing that I don't know, like, how do you keep that sustaining? And essentially, it's like, to a large degree, kind of a Ponzi in the way that it's structured, right? Like, everyone's getting this on the promise of new tokens, which are just arbitrarily being valued at this price right now. I don't know. I just think it's difficult to say how this is going to sustain. But here's hoping that it does.
And yeah, I mean, straight up, one thing to note before I throw to Clemente too is that some of the audience members are speculating on what OSF and Mando will do now that they've locked in all those profits. I believe $9 million. They're known to like sweep floors and stuff. People are like, I wonder if they're going to sweep the Rec Guy floor. I'm asking, I wonder if they're going to sweep the Rug Radio profile picture floor, which is creeping up. I am biased. I own an ass load of those things, so I do have to make sure that I communicate that. But that floor is creeping up. It's at 0.075 floor sweeps about an hour ago. I wonder. I don't know.
I think they're going to deploy into one-of-one art.
Mm.
Really, I think they're going to go and get your Sam Sprats, your X copies, your Ferocious. They hold. Well, I don't know if they sold, but I know they had a one-of-one Ferocious in their fund. So, but I don't. Yeah, I think they're going to put more of that allocation into a one-of-one digital art rather than more PFP stuff.
I'm gonna say they're no on that, and that they're gonna instead take a really nice vacation together and hold hands, and that and then additionally. They'll make an investment in our company, a nice angel investment that they're going to make into our company. So we'd like to pre-announce that here. They're not even aware of it, not even aware that they're making that investment. But I just want to say we'd like to pre-announce it here.
Well, that's pretty cool. Shout out to OSF and Mando for taking 25% of the $9 million in profits and just investing in the round that doesn't exist for our business. That's pretty cool. Clemente, you got your hand raised. What's going on, amigo?
Yeah, just to add some additional context as far as the Blur news that was announced yesterday is that the Blur also shared that for season 2 of the Blur airdrop, they're going to be deploying 300 million Blur tokens, which right now are actually about worth $1 each. So approximately $300 million of tokens. And it'll kind of be depending, part of the new piece that they announced is your user's loyalty score. So the higher your loyalty score is, the rarer your boxes will be. And the rarer your box, the more Blur that is in them. The interesting thing is that the biggest thing that they announced is like your loyalty score. It's not to collectors or do you pay royalties or not. It's how many of your listings are on Blur. If 100% of your listings are on Blur, then you get an 100% royalty score. And they rolled out a max your loyalty button that with a click of a button and a single transaction, you can remove all third-party listings. So if you have any listings on OpenSea or on LooksRare or on X2Y2, with a click of a button, they'll remove those for you. So they are going for the kill here as far as the market share goes. And it will be interesting seeing how the usage changes because of this announcement.
Very juicy info there, Clemente. Kix raised his hand. Something to chime in with here, Kix?
Yeah, I just wanted to say it'll be also interesting to see how the Blur price reacts. I mean, I think roughly season 1 lasted like 3 months, right? So season 2 should last like 3 months. I'm curious if the people that were investing in Blur but maybe not actively farming it, how they're going to react, because they may have not thought season 2 was going to be as big. So yeah, 300 million tokens essentially dilutes the supply by double. So if the market had already, accurately priced Blur, let's say at like 100 or $1.20, then doubling the supply of tokens would make like the fair value of it, 60 cents. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the Blur price, reacts to this news, and does it, trend downwards as we get closer to the next season. So it'll be curious to see what happens there.
Well,
we have some breaking news coming in here. Breaking news live from the NFT studios here in Brooklyn, New York, the hub of all NFT information. Oni Force, and shout out to Press for DMing me this. Oni Force, bought out by a group including former Binance YGG execs. This is just published in the block 35 minutes ago, actually, so we're a little bit late on this. But Oni Force was bought out by a consortium of investors led by blockchain investment firm Old Fashioned Research. I guess that's a tongue-in-cheek name. they orchestrated a community buyout. So that's actually a little bit weird. That's a little bit misleading. The group was it did not disclose the sum paid. Although the founders of Oni Force have left the venture, current project leader Henry Finn, also known as Star-Lordy, will become CEO of the group, and existing community moderators will also be retained. Good to know that the Discord mods will be retained, according to the release. OFR, that was one of my top concerns when I heard this news, was what will they do with the Discord mods? We need to keep them employed. OFR was founded in late 2021 by former Binance VP of M&A Ling Zhang and Wayne Fu, previously Binance's head of corporate development. It came out of stealth with a $100 million fund in May last year. While at Binance, Zhang led the exchange's acquisitions and investment into FTX, a classic investment that didn't pan out very well, Multicoin Capital, and CertiK, companies I haven't heard of other than FTX. Hopefully they didn't invest too much in them.
Multicoin Capital, Nick, Multicoin Capital had like a massive exposure to FTX and Solana, so they kind of just doubled down on that bet through that investment.
It sounds like this fund is complete trash. Congrats on them at supposedly acquiring, or the way this article is, facilitating a community buyout. I don't even know what the hell that means.
Well, regardless, it does look like maybe there were rumors of this swirling since, I think it'd be fair to say, since like mid-January, because if you kind of look at the chart on activity on Oni Force in mid-January, January 15th, that week, the average sale price was 0.7 Ethereum, and that's pretty close to the bottom, I'd say a local bottom for sure. And then, you see it now, the floor is 2 ETH, right? So I wouldn't be surprised if news was spreading about, this is kind of in line with some of the stuff we've been talking about, Nick, is like, the investors just go and sweep the floor. I'm assuming that this was being discussed last month and everybody that heard about it just swept the floor.
Yeah, Wizard of Soho or whatever it is.
He's been tweeting about it.
Yeah, he's been talking about how this was his biggest gain. And he's also tweeting about how he's spending all of them gains. He loves doing that. So
insider trading and then spending the profits.
He's truly a degenerate. But he's making a ton of cash on this. This has had it's the chart of the floor price of Oni Force is a great looking chart. At this point, I don't know what, like, community driven projects to me is some of the most bearish statements you could ever have. Generally speaking, and when you're being bought by an investment fund, not a team that's used to executing, I just feel like this isn't, I don't know.
It's not exactly Luca Nets buying pudgy penguins. Let's put it that way.
And Luca Nets, that guy is a scion of business. Many people don't realize the impact that he's had on society. So yeah,
but in all seriousness, it's like an experienced entrepreneur.
And he's executing on it. Which is pretty cool. And versus a fund acquiring it, that's like a private equity deal. And I've never been like bullish on that of like a previously popular. Anyways, so yeah.
Well, there you go. Well, that's Nick's take, ladies and gentlemen. Clemente, what do you think of this?
The only thing I'm monitoring is I don't know if what makes this bullish for Oni Force just because they're acquired. I don't really understand why this causes the floor price to go up 137% over the last 30 days. And if it just topples from here, if it's just, hey, they gain attention for X amount of days, and because of that makes the floor price go up. But I do think that we will see more of these acquisitions from projects that now are basically like the Blur announcement that we've been seeing, and OpenSea changing their royalties to almost zero. I think it just accelerated the death of 98 to 99% of projects that were going to die maybe in 9 months. Now it's going to be 3 months, and possibly we're going to see more of these acquisitions being played out with ones that have strong community, strong IP being built, but just no money. So that's what I'm looking for now, is like, what other Oni Forces will have similar news coming out in the coming months?
I like where your head's at, Clemente. Ladies and gentlemen, reminder that today's show is sponsored by us, by the Nifty Daily Digest Daily Newsletter. Subscribe at thenifty.com, TheNifty.com. We release that thing 7 days a week, 5 days a week with curated stories by our elite writing team. So look, we got another segment here, Nick. This is called Token TA with Nick. Are you excited about this, buddy?
Dude, I could not be more thrilled about this segment. Roll the intro.
Well, here's the intro. So, guys, this is the intro for a different segment, but we will have the intro for Nick's segment soon. Buy, seller, send it to zero with easy.
I'm a buyer.
Oh!
It's going to zero.
Wow.
Yeah.
Zero. Send it to zero, easy. This thing is garbage.
Well, ladies and
there we
gentlemen,
go.
that was the intro to a different segment that's going to happen on another day called Buy, Sell, or Send It to Zero with our very own Easy Eats Bodega. So if you're thrown off, you should feel thrown off, and we will have a different segment made for this segment, but we don't have it today. So I don't know
another
what to tell
segment made for this segment. Yeah. So thanks for that, Pio. So let's dive into the technicals for those people that literally can't see anything on my screen. And actually, I don't think I can share my screen. So this
Why
messes
can't
the
you
whole
share
thing
your
up.
screen? You can share your screen.
No, literally, Firefox has some issue with me sharing my screen. So we'll have to take care of that another day. But let's just dive into it real quick, Pio. Right now, what we're looking at is a massive pullback that we had on crypto, and that was driven primarily by the S&P just taking a dump. Basically, what we saw was the technical pullback off of 4,088, and it's now down to 4,000. That was the 2% drop yesterday. It was a bloody market. It was a red day. Right now, we're back into a green day, which is a nice little recovery there. The question is this going to be a sustained negative pullback? Is this the beginning of the end of basically what was the temporary bull run that we had after a massive dump earlier this year? Many people are speculating that that's the case. Michael Burry would say that it's the case. If we check out the Bitcoin right now at 24,000, it still has bullish Bollinger Bands right now. That one happens to be in a fairly positive space right now. But if you check out ETH, on the other hand, well, actually that one, if you check out the daily, also still technically bullish, bounced off today off the mid-range of the Bollinger Bands, which is sitting also at a key level, which is 1617. If we break 1617 and we close down the day at that, well, I would sell my ETH because this run ain't sustaining. Only 2 days ago, we thought yet again we were headed for, or 3 days ago, whenever you want to call it, beginning of this week, over the weekend, we thought maybe this weekend we were going to finally make the break up to 1,800 with ETH. Well, we didn't. We bounced off key levels, in this case 1728. That's the technical level that I look at. And it pulled back. We're now, like I said, let's test that 16, 17, 16, 18 level approximately, see what happens there. But for now, that's it. Trying to think if there's any other coins that we should be taking a look at. I'm sure the document specifies that, but I'm not looking at the document right now. So maybe Doge would be the only other one that would be an indicator here. Doge, which we thought was going to moon, not good technicals at this moment. It's bearish. And, as they say, as Doge goes, so too the market. That's a classic saying. So right now, it's not actually a saying. The only indicator that we end up looking for is when it goes on a run. That's typically the end of the bull run. It had a massive pullback a week and a half ago, breaking its bullish support. So at this point, I don't know. Things ain't looking so great. We're getting a lot of chop right now. I'm on standby to see where the next turn goes, whether we go up or down from here. Excuse me.
Big sneeze by Nick over there.
I got some sneezes going on here.
That was a big sneeze.
Thank you for acknowledging that. I got nothing else on this technical side. Clemente, are there any tokens that I missed here that we needed to dive into?
The only other one I was curious about was Ape. Currently 550. But Nick, as you're looking at that, I am curious. Like the last few months, we have seen a nice little run from December, and I think a lot of us are getting comfy, getting fat and happy with the profits, with the price action of Blur, the airdrop, and floor prices are relatively high. Is this a good time to be taking profits? Is my question. Because I think a lot of people forget the pain that we all just went through for a lot and most of 2022. And considering what's going on in the macro and maybe what might happen after season 2 of the airdrop, if these bid walls go away, that this might be a good time to de-risk a bit.
Pio's video was gone for a minute there, but he's back. In terms of
Kix got his hand raised too.
To answer your question real quick, and then I'll throw it to Kix. A couple of things. One, ApeCoin that you brought up. You put in a lot of questions there, Clemente, into one question. So I'm gonna have to tear them apart, tease them apart, as one would say. And the first one is on ApeCoin. ApeCoin stakers have been profiting. Jokes on you, market. If you've been yielding Ape, congratulations. That's been straight up gains for anyone that's been yielding that. I don't know what
illegally yielding it.
It was totally legal. Everyone's doing it at overseas, man. If you're yielding that, congratulations. In terms of where that is going price action wise, I'm surprised at the level that it's at right now. If you had asked Spencer, who'd come on the show before, he would have said take a counter position to short it just in order to, at the same time, just to get your yield and to move along essentially and get some of that free money. But the assumption was that the price would go down as more tokens came out, and it's been the complete opposite. Biggest driver was the game, and now we have Lick the Toad dropping. I don't know how long Lick the Toad is active for. That's not just for today, right?
No, it goes on.
No, it says ending on March 1st. My birthday, everybody. Mark that down in your calendars. National holiday, Nick O'Neill's birthday. And also the end of Lick the Toad. The other thing I was going to say, on the token side of things, worth pointing out, Matic, which was on a massive run up to as high as almost 1.6. This has just been on a freaking tear lately. Saw a massive dump after the news broke about them laying off 20+% of their staff with $200 million spent in the past year. A lot of people saying that that's bearish news. Usually a layoff in the public market would trigger the stock going up because the company is saving money, getting rid of all of those weak employees. But instead, what we've seen here is a pullback on the token. A lot of people saying, where did the money go? You know, a lot of people saying, where did that money go? How did you spend all that money? And concern about the sustainability of this blockchain. So the result, the token is pulled back from that high of 1.5, 1.6, only 4 or 5 days ago, down to 1.3. That's quite a drop. Sorry, my apologies. I can't even speak right now. That's a nearly 20% pullback. You would have been better off holding ETH. Which is basically borderline a stable coin at this point in time, the way it's been operating. It's been kind of a boring couple of weeks here on the price action with ETH. It's been just flat for the most part, just a little steady climb. Anyways, that's it for my technical analysis. Kix, what do you got to say about that? And thank you for calling me a genius.
You're a genius. Love your TA, Nick. Love the lines. I wish I could see them myself. Just all those beautiful lines on your charts. But yeah, I mean, I think that, you know, in these kinds of markets where we're not in a clear bull run, I always like to, you know, take profits. And I feel like if you look at the amount of run-ups we've had in altcoins, like we've had some pretty insane run-ups in altcoins. So me personally, I've been de-risking away from altcoins into ETH and doing the same thing with NFTs as well. I think if you're on a very long-term horizon, like ETH still looks at like a great price long-term. If you're more of a trader, you know, I always think, you know, taking profits makes a lot of sense. I've never believed that you have to be like, max invested or max out of the market. I think, you sleep better at night if, you take profits on the way out, you buy back in when things go low, but you always still have, some exposure. But I've definitely been trimming off some NFTs, selling some alts into ETH, but I haven't been switching that into USDC yet, because one of the narratives that we have to consider for crypto markets that we've never really had an opportunity to see play out is whether the markets truly look at crypto as like a digital gold, in the sense of being a great inflation hedge. The last time that we had this amount of persistent inflation was like in the 1970s. And during that period of time, gold was, the best rate of all time. If you were in equities, you actually lost money in real terms, despite the market going up by 30 or 40% that decade. So that is the narrative that I think makes this feel, it's just a little harder to call, because, if we do see persistent inflation and if we do see continued money printing, do people feel like Ethereum and Bitcoin are like digital gold and it can act as a hedge against inflation? People have been talking about that narrative for a really long time, but this is the first time we've been in a like truly bad inflationary market. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, TLDR, take profits on the way up. Take profit backseat.
I mean, that's been Kix's MO for a very long time. Clemente, sir, please serve it up. What are we talking about next?
So, taking your pick. It's going to be a fun new little segment. But basically, one of the things that I've been looking at was over the last few months, as far as 2023 goes, we've seen basically Azuki distance themselves and Mutant / Yuga distance themselves from the other quote unquote blue chips that they were matched up against in the summer of last year. And we've seen these three kind of mid-tier quote unquote blue chips get hit pretty hard. And I'm curious, which one is the best bet to recover from some of these lows that these collections are currently sitting on? Yes, they did get boosted by Blur a bit, but we've got Clonex sitting at 5.2 ETH. We have Doodles at 5.7 and Moonbirds at 6.5. And if you had to pick one to recover this year, which one would you pick and why? I mean, we might have a little bit of bag bias here from Signal and Kicks, but I'll put out a poll for anyone else to let us know their thoughts.
Why not this year and just go with this decade?
Let's go. Let's do the next. Let's just see what's your best pick.
What were the options? Moonbirds, what are the options?
Moonbirds, Doodles, and Clonex.
Moonbirds, Doodles, Clonex. Woo! Got the all-star team right there.
Yeah, that's a questionable selection. Moonbirds, Doodles, and Doodles is like a stable coin at this point. It's actually pretty crazy how sustained that floor has been. What's the price of Doodles right now?
That's a good
5.4, 5.3.
Oh, so it's come down some. Interesting. I mean, I feel like I got to go with Clonex. Yeah, I feel like Clonex is the only option here.
It's got to be Clonex. And that's not major shade, but you're asking this question right after the Kevin Rose debacle. You're asking the question when I think that we have to see how everything plays out with Doodles, with the flow relationship and everything like that, and what that actually means for the original assets. I think you got to go with a Clonex because, I mean, at least it was acquired by Nike, and at least it's like Nike's metaverse wearable initiative, blah, blah, blah. I just don't know how I could go with anything else. Signal, would you agree with us, or would you go in a different direction?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I feel like they all suffer from a similar affliction in that category. I would actually go with Doodles. Clonex to me just seems to be like in the corporate bosom and can't seem to escape it, just sort of hugged tight.
The corporate bosom.
Yeah, the corporate bosom just hugged tight. I think Proof have a steep hill to climb, and it might not be climbed by the end of this year. And And I think Doodles has a bit more of a head start against those two collections. And I don't think what they're doing on Gaia is like exceptionally risky. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. They've still got other cards to play. So I would do Doodles.
All right, we got Doodles from Signal, a little bit of a different angle. Clemente,
Doodle.
Clemente, you got your hand raised.
The poll is up. Signal, while we have you here, what do you think of this Moonbirds Community Council starting to be built from what it looks like? Is this
is the poll pinned?
Yes.
Poll
Oh
pinned.
yeah, I see it. Sorry, it wasn't showing up for me when Pio's out here laughing. I'm telling you what I saw on my Twitter. Okay,
I know,
Pio?
but you could have texted him. You didn't have to interrupt the question.
Well, now everybody is pinned. So if you want to provide an answer, I'm just letting people know that it's pinned. Okay.
He said it was pinned.
He said it's up there. It's not clear that it's pinned. There's a distinction between those two phrases. Let's continue with the dialogue, shall we? I don't need anyone huffing and puffing at me, okay?
And yeah, Signal. So I've been seeing Moonbirds all over the timeline, basically going, "Hey, you should vote for me for this community council." I believe Kevin Rose is on the Discord looking for nominations for community leaders. Is this anything to be taking note of? Is this a good indication of them possibly leaning on the community a bit more? I'm curious if you have any context to add there as a Moonbirds holder.
Yeah. So I would say any community that does this kind of work, it's a good thing, because you need a chorus. You need a chorus of people who will do the content work for you. And if they can have more and more champions across the community who are loud voices, it becomes a force of its own. And then if you do it for long enough, I think you end up in a position like someone like Wrecked Guy. I think Wrecked Guy started off like, very organic, just people in a Discord just shouting Wrecked all the time. And then over the last 12 to 18 months, that has just completely exploded and taken a life of its own. I think any community that can replicate that kind of diffusion of power into the base of the community, so it becomes very organic, it's a good thing. So I think it's a good thing for the Moonbirds to do that.
So my thought on this, Clemente and Signal, is when they say community, I wonder the way that they're thinking about that, because it doesn't, and this is not like shots fired, but it doesn't seem like K-Row has had the time to be really low level in the NFT space, in the Web3 space, just given some of these things. And the way they've rolled out content, they're rolling out like key content in Discord. And I'd love to see the numbers of daily active users that are in their Discord, right? Because if there's anything that I know, it's that Discord's not as favored of a platform as Twitter, quite frankly, even YouTube, other social media platforms. So if they're thinking about community with a Discord focus, then I definitely have a lot of questions. Nick, you're smiling about something. What's going on, big guy? Nothing?
I'm sorry that I smiled, Pia.
Well, usually that means you're up to something, amigo.
Okay, well, thanks for pointing that out, all right?
Okay, Clemente.
Someone sent me a text message, and it made me smile, Pia, but it's not relevant to this show at all, okay?
Nude pictures were texted to you.
It was nude pictures. You're correct.
Mm-hmm. It is interesting seeing that all of a sudden, like over the last week or so, this community empowerment movement has been kind of seeing like, hey, the people that stick around after this whole debacle that's been going on with Moonbirds have to be more of that core community, the people that are here for the long term. So the bull case here is that they have, like, if they can pull this off and kind of start empowering their community again via the DAO that they're building and this community council, and they manage that properly, honestly, we could see a bit of a rebound there if they're able to empower their community to create content the right way, and they stop doing things like hosting their market talks within the Discord only to holders versus doing it in a Twitter Spaces format. So that's the one thing I was curious about. But hey, why did it take you 9 months to build a DAO like model? Is it the legalities? Because you have a 30-person team that you should be able to knock that out rather quickly when the community sentiment was still high, i.e. 9 months ago or right after the CCO, to bounce back with it.
Well, I have a question, Clemente. What's the most popular / most known / most successful quote unquote DAO in NFTs. I've never really understood the DAO thing, quite frankly. What's the biggest one right now?
Ape.
ApeCoin DAO.
ApeCoin DAO. It's the one I can name off at the top of my head.
Can you name two others?
Moonbird's DAO.
Well, do you nice.
Clemente, I don't think, having been part of Pixel Vault when they did their DAO, I don't think it's a simple job to do at all from a legality perspective. And I think that's why it takes so long. There were a lot of moving pieces, and I remember them saying it will come. It took a long time, but like these things I don't think are as so simple to roll out. But I think the bigger question is, once it's rolled out, is how do you get people to partake in it voluntarily without having to always have sort of a carrot there all the time, because participation rate across DAOs has been known to be pretty low, and that's one of the big obstacles in operating in DAO, is getting people to actually want to vote and say these are the proposals that we want to move forward with.
Yeah, they can be inefficient, but Pio, just to answer your
DAOs
question,
are
we have
dumb.
DAO, and then we have the Dow Jones.
Dude, okay, the DAOs holistically are just the dumbest thing ever. There's only like a couple that I've ever seen actually make it work. You basically can count any that have worked on one hand. All of the others, complete train wrecks. The reality is no one's motivated to do shit within most DAOs, or it's all about taking money out of the DAO, putting it into my pockets, and overpaying for whatever we're getting. It's just the dumbest thing I've ever seen. I understand the idea. I understand the motivation, but nobody's interested in just DAO news is boring. The most exciting one, as Clemente pointed out, is the Dow Jones. Okay, there's really nothing else that even matters. So
there you go. And ladies and gentlemen, some updates from the poll that we did earlier. Looks like Doodles has a narrow lead over CloneX. I think recency bias is making people avoid Moonbirds. Only 25% voted for Moonbirds, but Doodles has 39% of the vote. CloneX on Doodles' heels with 36%, but it looks like Signal's take is being favored by our audience. Nick, we're just about to wrap. Any closing thoughts for the audience, buddy, before we take off for the day?
Limit the level of alcohol consumption that you have, because it's going to just ruin the rest of your day and your mindset. I would say it's just not a good place to be. So shout out to anybody who's considered drinking. It's just a bad move. Don't do drugs either.
well there's some really helpful messaging from Nick. Clemente, anything to close with here?
Happy hour, going to it at 6 p.m. tonight. Can't wait.
What, Clemente? What?
No, I just said I'm going to happy hour tonight at 6 at the local bar, and just to counter Nick's point here.
I got it. I got the joke, Clemente. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show. We run the show Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 10:15 a.m. Eastern time each and every week, where we discuss all things NFTs, crypto, technology, finance, gaming, and everything in between. Make sure that you follow the speakers on stage, follow Signal, follow Bunny. Looks like we lost Kicks and Easy. Follow the Nifty corporate account, the corporate bosom of the Nifty, as Signal pointed out. And we'll be back tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. And on Friday, we do it 5 days a week. Subscribe to the Nifty Daily Digest. That's the newsletter at thenifty.com, THENIFTY.com. Thanks so much for listening.